Wanna come with me? If you do, I should warn you. You're gonna hear all sorts of things. You're gonna hear about Wilson, Clive, pizza, and his roast Tyler of tart. Don't tell me I've picked another stupid apron. It won't be safe, it won't be calm, and it won't be quiet. But I'll tell you what it will be. A read of a lifetime. No money rolls, but rolls. I've got chips. Get in the church! Rolls, I'm trying to resonate concrete. Hello and welcome to another Doctor Who review. In today's Doctor Who review we're going to the bookshelf and we're picking up this, Rose, the Target novelisation. I can't help but say Rose and do the 9th Doctor voice, it's just a habit I guess. So yes, this is part of a new range, a new batch of Target books. So we've got 5 new Targets, so the other 4 of these, Twice Upon a Time, Day of the Doctor, Christmas Invasion, and we've got City of Death, the Traditionalist. So yeah, hopefully I will review all 5 of these, and this will be like a little mini series because I would like to do more book reviews on the channel. I think these will be a great opportunity to sort of break into that world. Now I originally wasn't going to get these, but I kind of got caught up in the Twitter hype because everyone was going, oh my god, I'm so excited for the new Target books, and then reviews started to come in and I was like, okay, these sound pretty good, because I was kind of holding off for them to announce hardback editions because I'm more of a hardback person. I rather get hardbacks because A, they're more sturdy, they just look more posh, and you feel like you're reading a proper book when you've got a hardback, and I just think they look a lot better. No disrespect paperbacks. But I couldn't resist. I was just like, alright, let's do it, and here we are. I bought all 5, and yeah, we're going to review Rose. The next one I'll probably review is Twice Upon a Time, because Rose was delayed, so that's the one I read first because Amazon didn't have it in stock, so I read Twice Upon a Time. Then the other 3, I have no clue. I'll keep you guessing which is going to be the next one because I don't have a clue, you don't have a clue, it's whatever one I read next. So yeah, the reviews are going to be quite sporadic which one I do because there's no set order, but I knew I wanted to start with Rose because, hey, it's the introduction to New Who. So there we go, let's look at the presentation. So taking a look at the presentation of Rose, we've got the nice sort of gold foil Doctor Who logo there, the Target logo, Rose, Russell T Davies, we've got the 9th Doctor, Rose, 2 Autons, we've got this sort of nice comic book effects down below there. Then moving on to the spine, we've got this sort of empty space which I think they could have filled up with like the Target logo there, Doctor Who, Rose, Russell T Davies, BBC Books. On the back we've got a picture of the 9th Doctor there and a quote, and then what the story's about there. And then little information. Looking at the contents of this book, so if we just open it up there, we've got the chapter points there, so the contents, so there are some of the chapter names, which I think Russell's done a fantastic job, you know, Pizza Surprise, Shed of Secrets, I love it. So if we just move on to the next page, we have the other ones there, just brilliant chapter names and just really sum up what the chapter's about there. And yeah, total page count is 197 pages. Right, there. So Rose was probably my most anticipated of the bunch because this was my first proper episode of Doctor Who. What I saw a glimpse of 2 of the Cybermen back in 2003 on like Doctor Who night, but this was my first full proper episode of Doctor Who. This was Doctor Who what I could call my own, and yeah, I'm incredibly excited because this essentially is your childhood, or my childhood, and probably many other people, good majority of people watching this, you know, this is their childhood in under 200 pages. Just a quick thing on how this review is going to work. I'm going to talk about the newer elements of the story, so we're going to look at the backstories for Bernie Wilson, Mickey and Clive, sort of standout moments, a few nitpicks, and talk about the characters within this and how they're characterised. So I'm not going to talk about the plot because we all know the plot to Rose, we've all seen it countless of times, we've all been brought up with it, so you're all familiar with the story of Rose. But the most important thing is, because this is a TV story and the only way you can get around reviewing a Target book is to look at the newer elements, and of course looking at that means spoilers, so there will be spoilers in this video, so if you're not a fan of spoilers and you want to experience Rose for yourself, do it. It's a fantastic book. I've said fantastic. I'm going to be doing that subconsciously because I know it's a 9th Doctor video, so I'm going to say fantastic a lot. There should be a little fantastic counter there, but I probably won't because I'm lazy. I will try and use other superlatives to describe how wonderful and fantastic this book is. But yeah, there will be spoilers within this, so if go and buy Rose, it's worth it, it's fantastic. Then come back to this video and hear my thoughts on the sort of newer elements. But if you don't mind spoilers, come with me and we'll go on a trip of a lifetime. So what are my opening thoughts on Rose? Well, I love it. I think that it is such a wonderful, magical book. I think Russell, the gay Shakespeare, as Frank Skinner called him, has just poured his magic into this book again and just recaptured the spirit and the essence of Series 1 and just told a story what we all know and love, and told it in a completely different way and made it all exciting again. It's like you're seeing Rose and experiencing Rose for the first time reading this. It is just absolutely wonderful, and I think Russell himself has just captured the warmth and the cosy feel of a Target book. It's a book what you just can't put down. I found myself at night just going, no, you need to sleep now, you need to stop reading it, because it's just so immersive and so engrossive. And I think this book in particular, I know Rose is a bit of a slow burner of a story because you're waiting for the Doctor to appear, but I think Russell handles it extremely well, which I'll talk about this now. Because when you start reading a book, sometimes it can feel a bit laborious, a bit of a chore, because you want to get to the good bit, like you're kind of waiting for the Doctor to arrive. So right from page 1, Russell's like, I will keep you hooked. And the prologue is essentially a backstory for Bernie Wilson, the person Rose is trying to deliver the lottery money to. And Wilson, what are my thoughts on him as a character? I think he's a bit of a git, he's a bit of an arse, and he's a bit of a person you kind of hate, but you sort of have a little bit of sympathy, a little bit of compassion for him, because you get a backstory of how long he's been working at Henrik. So he's been working there from like 1968, then there was this sort of staff party in 1973, and there was this incident, not exactly sure what the incident was, but you can only presume it was naughty, and Wilson got demoted down to the basement level and became sort of king of the basement. So really, by making Wilson an arse and a git, it kind of makes that scene between the Doctor and Rose more complete, when Rose is like, where's Wilson? And he's like, dead. It just makes that scene a lot more complete, because you're like, Rose, don't worry about him, he was an arse and he was a bit of a git, so you shouldn't care about him. So I think that's made that scene a lot more complete in the novel, and I think next time you watch Rose, now chapter 1 is where we get the sort of traditional Rose intro, what we all know. Basically that chapter is very much exploring sort of Rose's backstory, so we get her school life, another boyfriend she has, Jimmy Stone, he'll appear again in the book, he's a bit of an arse as well, and it's quite interesting because we get a sort of a throwback to End of Time, with sort of the 10th Doctor leading, going, oh, you're going to have a really great year, so we get that thrown into the book, and we also get, I think it's Bad Wolf Bay with Rose sort of on the beach going, were there any signs that my life was going to change that day? So that's quite a nice little callback. So we've got a few nice little references scattered throughout, and I think this book as well, Russell knows that it's for fans, because like Joe Public's had their version of Rose, now this book is for fans. So Russell has very much scattered a lot more references throughout this book, so it's quite fan, don't want to say the W word, so I'm good because family friendly. It's more fan-indulgent, I think that's a better way to put it. Fan-indulgent, so there's more references, especially Clive. When I talk about Clive, boy, there's references scattered throughout that chapter. It's wonderful. So yeah, chapter 1 essentially is Rose. So yeah, nice little references throughout there. Really like that. Sort of showing how mundane Rose's life is like. It's just quite nice, actually. I really like that chapter. On to the second backstory I'm going to cover, and that's Mickey. Now what Russell's had to do with this, because of this just being a one-off book, apparently these books are one-offs, so that makes them even more incredibly exciting, is because Mickey wasn't that well fleshed out in Rose, because the story is about Rose, hence the title. So what Russell's had to do, had to do is kind of flesh out Mickey and give the characters their character arc. So you got the 9th Doctor with the Time War, you know, Rose becoming more strong and independent as a character. So you kind of got the Series 1 sort of story arcs all laid into this book, because just to make them feel more well-rounded, because Russell's only got 200 pages, and to make them more fleshed out as characters. And Mickey's a prime example, because Mickey had 13 episodes to develop and know his backstory and that kind of thing, and the Slivian episode is probably his best in Series 1, whereas Russell's kind of give it us all in this book, so we get his childhood, and it just makes Mickey more of a tragic character, and you really feel sorry for him, because everyone leaves Mickey, and it kind of makes the end even more sad, but it kind of makes him feel like, yeah, he's going to be alright, because we learn about his mom dying, his dad running away, and you know, obviously his nan passing away, you know, the person we saw in the Cyberman 2-parter, It just makes Mickey more of a tragic character, and by the end of it, when Rose leaves, you really do feel more sorry, because you're like, everyone leaves Mickey. Mickey's always left on his own. But just the life, what Mickey has inside his flat is brilliant, because he has his mates around and he's in a band. We get to know more about Mickey's band, and the band's called Bad Wolf. So that's a nice little nod to the series 1 main arc being Bad Wolf. So I thought it was a really nice nod to the series 1 story arc. So Russell's very subtle with that, and I quite like that. But yeah, Mickey's backstory, it just makes him more of a tragic character. You feel empathy, and you feel really sorry for Mickey, and you just want to give him a hug. It's just brilliant, and I think Russell does a wonderful job fleshing out Mickey within this book. If you're a fan of Mickey, you're going to love this, because there's like a whole chapter dedicated to it. Right, on to the last backstory which I'm going to cover, and that's Clive. Clive is a character I absolutely adore, and he's perfect spin-off material. Big Finish, get onto it. Give Clive a spin-off, because honestly, it'll be fantastic, because Clive is such a bumbly, lovable idiot, jokey, warm, and just has that Target feel to him, that warm and cosy feel to him. He's just absolutely brilliant. And this is where the book, as much as I love Clive's backstory, this is where I have a few little nitpicks. But let's cover the positives. Clive's backstory, I really like how it ties into his dad, his dad being involved in sort of remembrance of the Daleks, being killed by a Dalek, and him sort of wanting to uncover his mystery about his dad. I think that was really lovely, and that's how his sort of interest sparked with the Doctor. We get a unit mentioned within it. We get a sort of a Torchwood joke with it being called Touchwood. That's a nice little joke there. And it's quite a foreboding scene in a way. Sort of towards the end of the scene, it's a little bit foreboding, and it gets a bit too much for Rose. But yeah, like I said, this is the most fan-indulgent section within the book. This is where references galore. This is where Russell just goes, oh, I'm just going to throw everything in. And it sometimes can become quite meta, especially Clive's speech about the Doctor, which I might read it at the end of his section, because he's like, all the Doctors, they all look different to me, but they're all the same person, and they're all wonderful. I think that's what it's trying to say. I can't remember it from the top of my head, but it's absolutely beautiful, and I think that's very much Russell talking, sort of animating Clive and sort of giving his own opinion about it. I think that's very much Russell writing himself. But yeah, let's talk about some of the references we get. So we get all the Doctors featured within this, even some Doctors what we haven't seen yet. So we get the first Doctor, sort of photographs from the first Doctor from The War Machine, second Doctor from Evil of the Daleks, third Doctor probably from season 11, because you got the Whomobile there, so Planet of the Invasion of the Dinosaurs, Planet of the Spiders, take your pick, whatever one you want to say. Terror of the Zygons for the fourth Doctor, fifth Doctor's Time Flight, sixth Doctor doesn't have a story, it's just generic sixth Doctor, seventh Doctor's Curse of Fenric, the eighth Doctor's TV movie, ninth Doctor, he's all over the place. I'll talk about his sort of cameos later. Then we get the 10th Doctor, which Rose isn't interested in, so that's quite a nice way of Russell brushing over that, so that's quite cleverly done. The 11th Doctor's 11th Doctor, and 12th Doctor's 12th Doctor. And we do get Jodie Whittaker, which is fun, it's nice, it's exciting, but I do have a little criticism of that, which I'll talk about in a minute. And we do have future Doctors, Doctors what we haven't seen. And this is where I'm like, Russell, whoa, slow down, chill, chill. I think Russell kind of went a bit too far. I was like, oh, I'm excited, let's throw in some other Doctors we haven't seen yet. As much as it's fun and jokey, I can't help but feel like, Russell, chill. And Jodie Whittaker, as much as it's really exciting now because we've only seen a small glimpse of her, and sort of getting a tease of an adventure what we haven't seen and probably won't see unless it happens in series 11, I kind of can't help but feel like that's going to date the book. I feel like, though it's exciting for us now, give it 5 years when people read this again, the excitement will be gone. They'll be like, oh, 13th Doctor. Like, I feel like it will date the book, and I don't want that. I want Rose to have this sort of timeless quality to it. And that's the thing. As much as it's nice having all these Doctors feature within it and feel very self-indulgent, I can't help but feel like I wanted it just to be the 9th Doctor. I like the idea of this mystery of Clive just following this one man. I know all the Doctors are one person, but I just like the idea of Clive following this one incarnation and getting glimpses of these adventures what we've never seen, and I think that makes the 9th Doctor even more mysterious. So we get the 9th Doctor at the Taj Mahal, we get the 9th Doctor wrestling a Predadactyl. it's just stuff like that. So I would have preferred it if Russell kept it to the Ninth Doctor, just to add that mystery and keep it a little bit more traditional. Not that I'm saying it's bad that he features all these Doctors, I just think I would have preferred it as just the Ninth Doctor. And Jodie Whittaker, like I said, exciting now, brilliant now, but later on I can't help but feel it will date it, and Russell going a little bit too far with the sort of the Doctors by inventing his own, went a little bit too far there. But other than that, I really liked it. Clive, I think by having this backstory, it's made Clive such a more wonderful character. You know, the way his wife describes him, that, you know, all his other, you know, her mates have literally cheated or liars, but, you know, she can't, you know, she loves Clive for who he is. You know, that the worst Clive could do is get excited over a meteorite storm, or spend 100, you know, let him have his £100 worth of photocopies, you know, because Clive's doing no harm as long as he's in his shed. It's quite nice, and I love how Russell kind of describes the shed like a TARDIS. It's wonderful, and I think that even having that backstory of Clive, it makes Clive more of a tragic character again, because you really feel sorry for him. But he's finally getting a taste of the Doctor's life, what he's been hunting for so long, and then he dies. You know, I think that it just shows that Clive is a really lovely family man, especially when he's like, no, I'm going to give you time to escape. You know, he just shares, you know, just shows how considerate and how lovable Clive is of a character. And his death, oh, I was close to shedding a tear, because by gum, it was just because you're so invested in Clive as a character, and you're kind of connected because you're like similar, because you have that obsession with Doctor Who. So he's very much a meta character in a way. But oh, just Clive's death, it did get to me. I was like, no, Clive, don't die. And then he just dies, and it's quite horrific. And I'll talk about the Autons because they're gruesome. They are absolutely gruesome within this, and they're harsh. So yeah, Clive, I loved his backstory. Despite my nitpicks, I loved it. But like I said, keep it to the Ninth Doctor, and it'd be the Ninth Doctor. I absolutely love the Ninth Doctor in this. He's blunt, he's sassy, and he's just got that Tom Baker sort of feel to him, that he can be jokey, smiley, and then next minute he can just be deadly serious. And what's lovely is that he kind of gets comfortable and at ease with Rose, but then he sort of breaks it out, going, no, I can't get involved. Like there's a bit before the Turn of the Earth speech where he goes, oh, I've missed this, when like, and Rose like, oh, what have you missed? You know, you humans, you know, asking silly little questions. And, you know, Rose is like, oh, I'm not your secretary, or whatever. And he's like, no, I love them. And he just becomes haunted in his face, like he's about to cry, but he just shakes it off, going, no. It's just beautiful how he has these sort of haunted moments where he just remembers his past, and just how sorry he is to the Nestines, because obviously it incorporates the Time War in this. Because obviously it wasn't fully explored until sort of End of the World, where we finally got the name drop of the Time War. So yeah, I quite like that, how sort of sympathetic the Ninth Doctor is, and it continues this sort of story arc, because the Ninth Doctor refuses responsibility. It's never the Ninth Doctor taking charge of a situation, it's always somebody else dealing with it. The Ninth Doctor kind of distanced himself from responsibility, and this is very much a prime example of that. Now Rose, obviously this story is about Rose, so you know we follow Rose throughout this adventure. This is Rose's story. Rose is done in a very interesting way, because obviously we see how mundane and how she wants her life to change. And you know, ever since the Henrik's disaster, you know, she kind of beats herself up, because she always felt like she would do better in a crisis, that she would take charge. And this story very much is her trying to find her place in the world. So she's very angry and quite angsty, I guess, because she wants to find out where she belongs. She's frustrated, you know, this world, you know, being dominated by men. You know, she realises that you know, and there's some bits where she's sort of, you know, eyeing the Doctor up, going, oh, he's just a typical bloke. And there's a bit where she stands up to Clive, and that's a bit when I'm like, whoa, you don't have a go at Clive, because, you know, she's like, don't try anything else, I'll knock your block off. And Clive's Clive, he's lovable, he's jokey, you know, so I just find it a bit odd, but it's all leading up to her dealing to save the day, and it kind of makes sense, because by the end of the story she knows where she belongs. She belongs with the Doctor in the TARDIS. So this is very much making all the characters go full circle, with Rose becoming that independent, feisty companion, because it shows Rose more as a troubled character trying to find a place in the world. And I think Russell did the Autons. I've got to talk about the Autons. The Autons are a real highlight, that you feel genuine terror. You feel scared for the characters. They're just a true force to be reckoned with. I felt like the Autons, I genuinely felt scared. Of, oh my god, the Autons have really advanced, because the way they're portrayed, they're a lot more gruesome, and it's a lot more nitty gritty when the Autons kill, because You know, their hands can morph from a gun to a sword to an axe to a drill. You get people being drilled in the stomach. You know, people being decapitated, sliced in half. You get people's heads being sort of blown apart by the guns. The children Autons have sort of pea shooters. It's just so crazy, and you just feel more terror. And I feel like this is true Target territory because, like Day of the Daleks, you know, the TV story only had 3 Daleks, and the Target book made out that there are a whole horde of Daleks coming towards this house. And Russell's kind of made the Autons feel more of a threat with like hundreds of Autons marching through the street, and just the brutality of the Autons are just so, you know, they are savage within this. They just want to kill everyone in sight. They're just absolutely brilliant. I feel like the Autons are a really underrated monster, and this has kind of made me realise how good the Autons are and how good of a concept they are, because we do get a Terror of the Autons reference with the daffodil in there. Another sort of sight of them being gruesome is when Rose is about to be attacked by the Auton and it raises its arm before the Doctor comes and runs in. You get sort of the blood of Wilson dripping up from its hand. So Russell's kind of made it a bit more nitty gritty, kind of made Rose a little bit more adult, but not, you know, full adult. Some other standouts is Rose entering the TARDIS. The way that's done is beautiful, so you know what the TARDIS smells like, and it's just the way Russell describes it is so wonderful and beautiful. The Turn of the Earth speech I really like done in book form, and sort of the end speech where you see Rose and the Doctor and Mickey sort of hovering above the Earth, and they're looking down on the Earth, and Rose it's a nice little play on the Turn of the Earth speech. You know, Rose is like, I can feel the turn of the Earth, and the Doctor's right, let's go home. It's just a beautiful way to end the book, and obviously it all leads to Rose travelling with the Doctor. That's just a really beautiful moment. Those are some of the key moments I absolutely love, and the Autons, like I say, are fantastic, and just the characters are brilliant. I truly adore this book. So let's go on to my concluding thoughts. So what are my concluding thoughts on the Rules Target novelisation? Well, I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think if you grew up with the Russell T Davies era, you're going to love it. It's absolutely beautiful. It's just magical. We're experiencing that adventure, going on a trip of a lifetime all over again. The characters' journeys are brilliant, whether it be the Doctor, Rose, Mickey and Clive. God rest in peace, Clive. It is just brilliant. The Auton invasion, just the build up to that is fantastic. The Autons are a true menacing threat. And also Donna appears for like 3 lines, literally just 3 lines, and Donna's like, oh, I've got a hangover, I'm going to bed, Gramps, and Wilf's like, alright, see you, darling. And that's it, and that's how Donna misses the Auton invasion. It is just fantastic how Russell kind of just threw a little nod. You know, the book may come across a bit self-indulgent at times and a little bit meta, and you know, it does cross the line in one place for me, which is the future Doctors. But I feel like Russell crammed in a hell of a lot, whether it be expanding all these characters. Just they managed to do this in under 200 pages is phenomenal. Getting whole character arcs in there, getting a whole sort of threat level within there. I think Russell did a true magnificent job, you know, fleshing out characters what we didn't get any screen time for, fleshing out Clive, Mickey. It is just magnificent. I really highly recommend Rose. So I'm going to give Rose 9.5 bananas out of 10. It is absolutely magical, and Russell, you did good. It is just a book what I'm going to treasure, because like I said, it is childhood in a Target. It is magnificent. I can really see why people adore the Target books, because this is just utter beautiful, oh, brilliant. I love it. So thank you very much for watching this review of the Rose Target novelisation. I think I've babbled on way too much, but I just love this book. It is one of my favourites. It's just brilliant. So yeah, thanks very much for watching this review. Please give it a like, comment, subscribe, all that jazzy things are what we all love. Yeah, thank you very much. If you've read Rose, comment down your thoughts. It'll be interesting to hear your opinion on it. So yeah, thank you very much, and I'll see you in my next video, whatever that'll be. So thank you very much, and goodbye.